So I'm in the sandbox environment up here. And I've created a fake agency within California that's just called Fake. I have a bunch of fake users and some fake data in here that I'll be interacting with throughout the training. As always, if you're going to be playing around with data within the system, you just want to see how a feature works, or you want to try out the imports or whatever. We always recommend that you do that in the sandbox as well because it won't impact the production database, the VectorSurv gateway, where your data is permanently stored. To get this started, I'm just going to go to the settings here at the top of the navigation bar. And I'm going to start by even before clicking into any of these settings over here, just talking about the current agency drop down here. So most users actually won't even see this, but any user that has access to more than one agency will be able to switch between those agencies' data within the environment that they're working in. So I'm working in the sandbox, so I'll be able to switch between the different environments between this fake agency and the Sacramento YOLO Mosquito Control District, who lets us commonly use their data for these trainings. So thank you to Sacramento YOLO. So this user who signed in, their name is Lincoln Fake in the system. That's their username. They have access to two different agencies. So when they are selecting the data to run in the calculators or the tools, or if they want to switch between the two datas, they'll be able to do that here by switching between these. The other way to see this is by going to Settings, My Account, and then underneath there, you'll see Other Agency Access. This will give you a list of the agencies that you currently have access to. So I have access to this fake agency. My login type is Agency Manager. I'll go over that in just a second as well. And Sacramento YOLO Mosquito Control District. You can also request access to other agencies. So in this theoretical example, if I'm in Sacramento YOLO, I might want access to Solano County Mosquito Control District's data as they're a partner that's right next door to Sacramento. It might be useful for us to share data back and forth. So by going to this other agency access, new agency access, you're going to be able to find a list of all of the different VectorSurv agencies that are within the system. Then your user account is going to be able to request access to those agencies. So I'm just going to go to Solano here, and I'm going to request that they provide me with view-only data access. This will allow me to see the data that they have entered into the system, but it won't allow me to edit, delete, or otherwise alter the data that they have previously entered. But it might help me decide where I need to be setting traps along the agency boundaries between, let's say, Sacramento County and Solano County. I'm going to submit the request here. And you'll see it gets added to this list only as pending. Earlier, I submitted a request for Sutter Yuba, another agency that's very close to Sacramento, and these are both pending. So a notification then will be sent to the agency managers within Solano County and then previously in Sutter Yuba saying this user, Lincoln, would like access, view-only access to your data, and they will be able to decide whether or not to grant that request. So this is the primary way that you'll be able to request access to additional agencies' data within the system. Obviously, it's dependent on that other agency approving your request, but this will provide you with the option to send that request to the agency you're seeking access to their data. Okay, now we're going to go through the My Account settings here. So these are individual user settings, starting with personal information. So the personal information is quite basic. It's just listing what is your username within the system. So I have this Lincoln Fake username with my first and last name. The email address that I would like to have all of the notifications submitted to me that's the primary location, as well as some other information about like what is my login type for this particular agency. If you want to automatically CC or forward your emails to another email account, maybe you're splitting your work between two emails, or you just quickly want to be able to provide the email notifications that you get to another person, you can add their email address here, and the system will automatically forward you the notification emails to that email address. And down here, you have the option to opt into or opt out of the different types of notification emails. So users in VectorSurv typically get emails from us if they are submitting specimens to a central testing lab, such as mosquito pools, sentinel chicken blood draws, dead bird carcasses that are being tested for West Nile virus. So this is the way that you can opt in and out of those emails. If you're an agency that's doing a lot of mosquito testing and you don't want an email notification every single time that the vial that you're sending was submitted to the laboratory, you can set this to no, and you'll no longer get those email notifications. You can also do this by agency. So this is the fake agency, but as I showed earlier, I also have access to Sacramento YOLO. So you'll have a separate set of controls down here for that specific agency. So you can set the email notifications there as well. And the last thing I'll note here is we also have this little bit of user help information about your personal profile. And the main thing I want to point out here is that you don't have to provide your email address for every single organization that you're a part of. So you'll notice down here, there's no email address within Sacramento YOLO. So it will automatically just default to whatever email address you've provided up here. So that's it for the personal information. The next piece is security details. So this is an easy way for you all to change your user password. That's always a good idea to try to do once a year. We don't necessarily enforce that, but it is good to regularly change your password to make sure that people who aren't supposed to be accessing your agency data don't access it through your password. Um, so you can change your password by entering in your current password and then the new and old password and hitting update. That will change your password. What you can also do is enter in your current password and then change your username and hit update. And that will just change your username. So if I don't want to be Lincoln fake anymore, I want to be like L Wells fake, I can certainly do that. The last thing you can do on this form is change your primary agency. So instead of having fake agency be my primary when I sign in, like this is what the system will automatically show me, I can set it to be Sacramento YOLO. And you might want this if maybe your role changes significantly, or actually you switch agencies, you go from one agency to another agency, and you want your new agency to be your primary. You can set that information here. And lastly is the account preferences. So account preferences are stored for each individual user, and it um, makes possible for us to display the data in a way that's relevant to you. So lots of agencies, manage data locally in lots of different ways. So some of the key features here you might be thinking about are like your date format. So I typically use, 4 digits for year, two for month, two for day is my format. But you can set the date however best manages or best is useful for your particular agency. This will impact how the data is shown on the various forms throughout the system. It'll also help us to validate the data when you're doing things like data imports from Excel or CSV files. Making sure that we're not switching the date and month as an example and accidentally entering information incorrectly. You can change how the time is presented if you wanted it 24 or 12 hours using AM PM. Your particular time zone. We have pretty much every time zone imaginable on this list. So here in California, you would use the Los Angeles one. And also how the latitude longitude is stored. So we use decimal degrees mostly, but you can also use minutes and seconds or degree minutes. Um, how this works is within the database, we store the data consistently in one format. And when you change this selection, it's automatically going to do the conversion for you. So you don't have to worry about, I've entered things in decimal degrees in the past, and now I want to use degree minutes. When you look at that form, it will automatically update to the new latitude longitude format. We also have some options here for how files are prepared and delivered to you. So we have a way for you to generate pool labels. So if you're submitting a bunch of pools to the laboratory for central testing and you want to put a little sticker on them, this is how you would decide how big you want those labels to be, or how are you printing them locally. So we have a couple different formats here for your label gridding. If you're downloading a spreadsheet from the system, you can decide if you want it in Microsoft Excel or a CSV file. Text formatting, that might be for like a packing slip. You can generate those from within the system, put it in the box, and when you send it to the laboratory, so when you do the text format for here, you can generate those using Microsoft Word or a PDF. And lastly, spatial files. So there's ways for you to enter and export spatial files for if you're doing things like pesticide applications or you want to run the calculators over a specific geographic region. You can set the spatial format here, and then when you pull those out of the system, this is the format that it will provide it to you in. I'm going to skip the general settings for now. This is a tool that has somewhat been archived on our end. So the last thing I'll go to is just the units of measurement. And this is very similar to the latitude longitude that I was talking about before. It's just what is the units that is going to be presented to you on the forms, and what is the units that are going to be entered when you do things like data imports. So meters is typically used for like tick dragging. Temperature is also used for the temperature when the drags occurred. And then mass and volume are generally related to pesticide applications.